Hello and a warm Collisions YYC. Welcome to my two lovely guests this morning, Melissa Boerger and Joanna Pariseau. Good morning, ladies. How you doing?
Good morning. We're doing great.
The awkward who goes first.
Yeah.
Okay, Joanna go, then Melissa go, then we'll alternate.
I always go first. Melissa knows, I'll talk over her and I apologize, Melissa, already ahead of time. She knows
pre-apology. I appreciate that. We're laying the groundwork. Taste the city. Joanna, what is a Taste the City? And let's launch from there.
Oh my goodness. Well, essentially we're really disrupting the tour space. So it's a digitally guided experience. You're going to go onto our website, say you're like, where should I go on my Friday night? Head to our website, pick your start time, pick your neighborhood, and then you get a text message to your first restaurant. You show up, say you're with Taste the City, they bring you a sampling item of their choice, and after about 30 minutes, you'll get a text message to your next spot, and everything's prepaid and pre-gratuity, so you simply get up and go to the next place, and you get to hit up 3 to 4 restaurants in an evening. So it's pretty fantastic.
Restaurant focused? Do I stop at any cocktail bars on my tour, or is that a different? Is that a different? I have to click a different button to get to that.
Due to our lovely AGLC regulations in this province, I am unable to include packages of alcohol, which I think is somewhat ridiculous. Even if I wasn't making any margin or any money off of it, I wouldn't be able to consider it as a part of the package. So it's the only thing you buy on site. So we focus mostly on restaurants that have
so even
food.
if I'm going to a restaurant, my drinks are something that I understand.
Yeah, exactly. And so something we'd love to package, but I can't fight the law yet. So
we'll just call it the alcohol mafia. And I know you have you have the LCBO in Ontario, which I think I've heard is a whole other game to play.
Yeah, exactly.
So it is.
One day when we're in the United States and other countries, it won't be a problem. So, but regardless. No, when you go to all the different restaurants, that's the only part that you'd have to pay over and above the food. But if you were to just go and get the food, some of our restaurants provide mocktails as part of the inclusion of the sampling item. So it's really fun and kind of like a forward way if people don't want to package their alcohol as well and just actually want to focus on the food. But all of the places that we go are a sit-down restaurant that has drink service.
Love it. My first, you are now my experts question. Are you guys seeing or hearing any feedback on the trend around non-alcoholic? You can't go anywhere, you're not hearing about it, and people are looking for alternatives, younger generations drinking less. Is that something you're both kind of nodding? Is that something you've seen even kind of in the early days? We'll talk about a little bit of history of you guys getting this up and running.
Melissa, I'll let you go first on this one.
Yeah, no, for sure. We've actually had a lot of people who do our tours that appreciate a food forward experience because everything has been for so long alcohol forward, and especially with the new laws and new regulations that are saying, hey, no alcohol is the best way to go. I'm not saying that I live by that rule. However,
you're not preaching. You're just speaking. I totally get it. I understand.
Yeah. Although I don't drink a lot, I definitely like to drink here and there with a friend, on a Friday night or something at a restaurant. But we have been finding people love that it's up to them, it's their choice, and there's no pressure to get a drink, and people are loving the mocktails. The mocktails are fantastic. You can't even tell the difference. So I think it's really
later.
Great. You get later. You feel great in the morning as opposed to.
Oh yeah, no, we all know what happens, and as we all grow in our age, the next morning is less and less fun every year. Let's just be blunt about that.
It's rough. But do you know what and I will also be the other side of this is that we're still seeing about 75% of our tasters get drinks at every single spot.
Okay, thank you
so
for
it's it's great that we have all these statistics and that there's a movement.
But here's reality.
There definitely is. But realistically, people are just still going out and having drinks. And
thank you for it's getting all the press right now. But if you still look at volume sales, it's still it's minuscule
the number one
in contrast.
Thing. Yeah. Beer Fest is rocking in Calgary.
It's the fastest growing, but it's still the smallest.
Exactly.
Vertical.
And so, but I do think, one of the reasons why I brought kind of the company forward as I did is because when I went to, I would go for the last 10 years, Rocky Mountain Food and Wine Festival in Calgary. Love this festival. My favorite festival
You're in Calgary,
of the year.
you've known it. You've probably been invited to
it. You've known
it.
You've gone. And when I went the first year that it started, it was every best restaurant in the city was at that festival.
Yep, I remember.
And I've been going, and every year there's less restaurants. And I was like, okay, like, why is this the case? Like, what's happening? And when I started talking to the restaurants, they were like, well, it's really hard for us to have my staff off site for a Friday and Saturday and to recreate my product in a conference room and really be able to highlight what we can do well. And so my whole concept was, well, then how do we bring the festival to the restaurants, but not overwhelm them and not be this like, once a year, you do it for 2 weeks.
The bomb that drops in on a Friday night at 6:30.
Exactly. How can we be an ongoing experience for them? And we fit into how they already operate. We're never going to have more than 4 to 6 people in there at once. And then we turn over that table in a 30-minute, every 30 to 45 minutes, they're getting new tasters coming in, or we're just a perfect reservation filler. They know ahead of time. People book 24 hours before, so it's not something they're going to get a surprise reso for. So restaurants love us. Like the restaurants that get it.
Anyone who's worked in that space, I put myself through flight school, working behind a bar. All the things you just described are things you want and the things you want to avoid.
Exactly.
the 20-person surprise walk-in on Friday night.
Exactly. Well, and when you get like the tasters that ahead of time they're coming in, what you're going to serve them. Yeah. And when you get most of them getting drink service, that turnover time becomes comparable to a regular reso. And I just brought you new customers. Most of our customers say this is a restaurant I've never been to, and I'm going to be back to make a full reservation because we focus on locals, because this is not a tour, it's a tasting. It's like you actually just get to go to 3 spots on a Friday night with 1 reservation.
I love it. And you're inducing trial. You're creating an experience. You're doing the thing. Like a restaurant is so much more than, like, to your point, food in a conference hall that's loud and you're lined up. That's not what I go to a restaurant to have. That's not the experience I have. The ambiance, the room. We were joking about Brigitte Bar. We're going to blatantly plug a few restaurants. You walk in, it's just, it's cool. It feels cool to be there.
Good vibe.
And then you get to try what they have to offer, right? It's huge.
Yeah. And it's like that mixture of high fine dining. So you're going to get great food, but like I can go there in my jeans and a t-shirt and not feel uncomfortable, and so you can get a mixture of both. And I think that's what in general Concord Group in all of their restaurants kind of figured out. That kind of vibe is that like I can, and maybe it's just like because we're in kind of a semi grunge phase or something.
What are the micro versus macro cycles we're in? So how old? How long have you guys been doing this for?
Oh, we're almost coming up on our 1-year birthday in
congratulations.
in October.
Are you still counting in months and weeks? No, it's almost 1 year now. It's not. We're 11 months.
Yeah, essentially.
That's awesome.
So
12 months, and you made the comment off air. You used the word rocket ship.
Mm-hmm.
Talk to me about, like, is that because of the technology you used? Because there was just such a drastic need, a vacuum, that your services were like, oh, finally, I've been looking for this. Like, as the business people, talk to us a little bit about that rocket ship word success.
Yeah, we rolled out our original MVP last October for 4 weeks. So our whole process with our tech is to build, I use the word bricolage all the time, like utilize the resources that you have around you to make a minimum viable product and then test it in the market, see what your response is, and then refine. And that's what we did with our MVP. And so we saw $10,000 in sales, over 100 people go out. And that was in a 4-week period when we launched. We got a ton of feedback. We were able to update our tech to meet the demand of what we were seeing coming. And then we did a full rollout in January in Calgary. And we've seen about $120,000 in revenue in Calgary with a bare minimum marketing budget. And by bare minimum, I mean like a $30 hobby horse we brought to Stampede and did
I saw
TikTok
some of those
videos.
posts. I did see some of those posts. You guys rocked it. I'm curious, from a founder's perspective, what were some of the biggest surprises that you got when you put your MVP in market? You went, oh shit, I didn't think that was going to be what we learned, or I thought that was going. Oh, Melissa's immediately laughing. So I guess I touched on what was the okay. Anyways, I'll stop talking. Melissa, please, please share.
Originally, we launched with 5 restaurants. We thought minimum people are going to want to go to 5 restaurants in a row. And we laugh now looking back, because now our main tasting is 3 spots, nice. 4 is good. It's so much food. So we're trying to think all those people who went on those tastings were getting so much food. I don't know how they were doing it. Like it's actually a lot, and you're super full at the end.
It's obnoxious by the end. You're like, I can't eat, but it's good. I want to, and then I want to get I'm here to have my experience, but yet I'm bursting at the seams.
And we thought that was going to be it, so we really had to like pare it down. But we do,
That's
however,
awesome.
still have a 5-stop, and it's kind of like a challenge to people. Like if you think you could do
It's
it,
like if you can eat
the
the 64-ounce steak, kind of one of those.
You know,
like,
and there's some big guys out there.
Oh, Brendan.
yeah, they're like, oh, I'm hearing people right now going, oh, challenge accepted. I'll sign up for the 5. Yeah, I got it.
We
Everyone
actually
loves their
almost...
badge. Did you survive the 5? Or, yeah, that's not a good marketing slogan. Sorry, I'll retract that.
We actually almost called it the Brendan because we had a gentleman named Brendan that went on our 5-stop tasting, and he was the only one that gave us feedback that was like, I wasn't exactly full. Like I was full, I was satisfied, but I can eat so much. And so we now have made the 5-stop one called the, in our minds behind closed doors, we call it the Brendan.
Well, yeah, I'm sure if he hears, he'd be flattered. How much is that? Again, do 10 people go on a tour, do you get feedback from most of them? Like, is it one of those, like, it feels like there'd be a high feedback cycle because people are having such an experience, sight, sound, taste. Like, it was too far. I didn't like the walk. The food was good. I didn't like the mocktail. There's so many factors people can give you feedback on. How do you manage? Like, do you get a lot of feedback? I imagine yes. And if so, how do you manage all that in a usable way?
Well, go ahead,
So
Melissa.
I manage our feedback.
Okay. All right. Well, then you're the right person to ask the question.
Yeah.
So what I do is I take it all in. We have a survey that goes out. We do get lots of feedback regularly. And pretty much I flag anything that's consistent. So because you're always going to get people who are cranky about, something here or there. It didn't.
Not all reviews are created equal, right?
Yeah,
absolutely.
they're like, there wasn't enough meat on this one random, tasting or something. But for the most part, like we see what's consistently coming up because we want to speak to our specific customer because we don't want to waste our time on the random person who's like, oh, I didn't like that. There's just people out there that are not your customer and you don't want to waste your time. So the people that, we know are our people, we take their feedback very seriously, and I will message Joanna right away to be like, consistently, this is feedback we've been getting on this tasting route. Or in general, we've been getting on our tastings. And so that's kind of how we see it. And then anyone that we feel like, didn't have a good experience, but they want to come back, they're our customer. We're sure to reach out to them and make sure that they had a great time and that, or that we can make it up to them. So we really care about our customer. We want to make sure they're having a great experience.
It sounds very, at this stage, there's only one way to be as hands-on, which is what I'm hearing loud and clear from both of you.
and that's why we're such a fun product for our market, because it's kind of like we're really hearing what they want, how they like it, and we're molding our product to their wants and needs. And so we're finding our customer and we're refining the product to that. So like, for example, when we first started, we were doing like every 20 minutes, you would get a text message. And that was not enough time. And so now we've had extended those periods. And then also with the restaurants anticipated how much of a grace period we need to actually provide somebody before, like what we tell the restaurants when people are coming versus when they actually show up. And we've like now got it down to a T that we know kind of like the human factor of, pokey pantses that will just like.
I'm picturing myself and a handful of my friends dawdling around being silly. And then it's like, oh shit, we're late. We got to go. And then there's two people that don't care about ever being late. So they don't even worry about it. Yeah. The humanity of that experience, bringing those humans together. Not everyone's punctual.
Yeah, exactly. But we're really, the restaurants are really great about like, hey, reminding people and like bringing their bill, and like you kind of bring the bill with the drink. So you get to go pretty quickly. So, but yes, that was something that we adapted kind of on the fly. And it was, it's been really wonderful though, because now we can get people to go out again on different tastings, especially in Calgary where we have multiple tastings. When we expanded to Victoria, I had a few lie on the floor moments.
Okay. As every entrepreneur does. I love it.
Yeah. Time zones were a really fun experience because our technology speaks to so many different components of time. And there was, so that was a lot of fun things. And we went through, like, I had a rough time. I went through one restaurant that was frustrated enough that they walked away, and we had to like, oh, holy crap, we have to like get another restaurant. We have tasters coming up. And so we had to just like boots on the ground, figure it out as a team.
You're a two-sided market for sure. You need all the things to make it work.
You need the restaurants in order to actually
quintessential middle humans to playing the experience.
Exactly.
Who's the tech founder in the two?
Oh my gosh. the best person ever. Serene Yu, so she's a local Calgary developer with Pixel Tree. Absolutely love Serene. She literally hosted.
You literally lit up like, oh, she saved me so many times. I could feel it.
Well, no, she's
her.
been my mentor. She's been my mentor through all of this. I planned hackathons with her, and that's how we got connected. We became friends, and like she literally during Stampede, she lives across from the Stampede grounds, and we like used her apartment as her base. She gave us keys
as base camp.
Yeah, as base camp. She got us into Cowboys. Like she's just like she goes above and beyond.
Amazing. How critical from so many people I run into with good ideas. They're like, yeah, but I just don't, I'm not tech that way. I'm not that tech person. Sounds like having that individual for you guys was literally like a make or break.
Yeah. Well, and I'm a product manager is what I've learned. As people have told me, I didn't know it, but yes, because I'm not the Cody person, but I definitely provided I created the wireframes. This is actually what we want to like make it look like.
Thinking truly about the user experience and parlaying that back to what we built.
And then essentially, as we continuing to test those user experiences, see which ones are priority for us to update and change, find the money to do that, all of those things. So, anybody out there that's not a coder and doesn't think that they can develop a product, that is absolutely not true. You just have to start thinking the way of like, how can I use technology in a very simple manner to help try and create a minimum viable product, and then find a coder friend.
Have a call friend. We've never been in a better place to have access to off-the-shelf technology that can be bolted together.
Seriously,
the no-code, low-code movement, and although some developers will cringe at that, there's a lot of things you can bang together with a free access to a temporary online tool just to see if your idea even makes sense. Well, as a founder in your basement or whatever the metaphor you want to use for that.
And I'll do a plug for UFC in Calgary. So I did a minor in business and I built this product using all of my basically project time for my minor.
Oh, nice.
So
I love it. That's great.
In my law class, I incorporated, and one class that I took, I think it was called NT, like Entrepreneurship 411. And the whole thing was about like automations of like what you could do, steps you could take, and really practical how you could, I built my website in that class. Like I created a bunch of automations of like how we could do things. And so like taking a simple,
what a great use of that learning time. I love it.
Honestly. And so like any student that's out there, I majored in urban studies and I was in the arts program, a BA, but anybody should take a minor in business at UFC if they want any form of entrepreneurship in their technical field, because
that's a good plug.
I did it as a minor because I wanted to avoid going back and doing math again. But
you were strategic in your choices. I appreciate that.
But the entrepreneurship program, like huge plug for UFC in that capacity. And if you utilize that time, there's a huge support system there for you.
Oh, that was a great. I love blatant plugs for things that are like, oh yeah, and then if someone leaves this episode and goes, I'm gonna go take that extra step. That's a win for me.
Yeah.
Talk to me about your markets. How many markets you guys in? 5, 6? I was creeping this morning and I got I wasn't 100%.
Yeah, we were in 5. Unfortunately, with Waterloo, we were so sad. We had such a great route in Waterloo. 2 of the restaurants ended up closing shop in Waterloo, and it's a small town, small stretch. So we're just like sitting and waiting for what restaurants end up coming and replacing those spaces, and then we'll kind of reach out to them again. But that's kind of the nature of our business. But Melissa, we are in
Calgary, Toronto, Victoria, Edmonton. So like fully.
I saw now in Edmonton on someone's LinkedIn profile this morning as I was cruising
Edmonton
around.
People, like I know we're from Calgary, but go out and do our tasting. We're excited to have you. We called it the capital. It's the capital tasting. So
well, it's accurate. Yeah, no, that's technically accurate. Talk to me a little bit about your perspective around being in this industry. Like, Melissa, when you and I chatted before as kind of our pre-chat of like the role that restaurants play and such the indicator of what's happening in an economy or where people's mindsets are at, what they're comfortable with spending, not spending. Corporate expense accounts play a big part in the restaurant business out there, especially downtown Toronto or even downtown Calgary. What are you guys seeing with your optics? You guys are collecting some interesting data as well, like as it tends to accumulate. So what's kind of your armchair? I think everybody knows Calgary is quote unquote booming right now. It's very positive that way. Sounds like it's being reflected. Toronto seems to be always degrees of busy, maybe. I don't know. What do you guys, what's your crystal ball look like?
Well, I'm going to talk about, we just essentially did our first conference group, which was really exciting. So we were able to do that in Calgary because we have multiple routes all within a concentrated area. And so we were able to take a group of like 35 people, split them into groups of 8 or 10 who all simultaneously went on different tasting routes. And then they all culminated and ended at one of our tasting spots that could accommodate all of them. And so that
fun.
was
You split them all apart and then boom, dropped. Yeah, okay, that's fun. I like that.
Exactly. So then, because like if you're in a group of 35 people and you go to one dinner somewhere, it's very unlikely that you're going to end up like talking to all 35 people. But this breaks it into smaller groups. Everybody has things to talk about. It's such a perfect team builder because you have like 3 different icebreakers essentially. Oh, have you ever been here? Oh, what are we eating
by
this
default,
time?
you're going to
this
sit
is
beside
really...
somebody else at the next thing.
Exactly, of walking in between and everything like that. And so we really foresee that the kind of like business market and the corporate market is going to be big for us. Conferences is going to be a big deal too. Conference goers are always looking for, when they're here for a couple days,
something to experience,
something to do. Exactly. And we're such an easy, we're a walkable experience. Like this whole thing came from like my background is studying sustainable tourism and walkable cities. When I was in Italy, I didn't want to do a food tour, but I wanted to walk around and hop around and do something, and nothing digital existed. So that's where I came and built this product.
So classic. Somewhere there was a pain or there was a gap, and then they created an opportunity. Does Calgary, 100%. Are we close enough, or do we have enough density? I know what's happening with East Village and what they're working on there, tying that into conferences. Like there's a move that way, but it sounded the way you said it, that we have enough stuff close enough together to make it work.
Do you know what's funny is that right now one of our biggest issues is that we built this BMO center. We want to be a tier 1 city, but tier 1 cities require us to have a hotel that's big enough that we can actually accommodate all of this. And I was sitting at a round table yesterday talking about this with all of the tourism partners. And I kind of said, like, we need to think about outside the box instead of being like, we have to build a train, we have to build a hotel. And I understand those things, but that takes a long ass time. Sorry, excuse my language. But we need to figure out.
This is a PG-13 podcast. We're good to go.
Okay. And so we need to figure out a way in the meantime that we can, a creative way that we work together, play nice in the sandbox, utilize technology, utilize time and communication efficiently, so that we can actually offer, like, all these 5 hotels around the BMO are going to work together and they're all going to be a part of your conference, and that we can then, like, I don't know, just a moment to think outside the box and think differently. And so, how was
that received?
There was a lot of nods, and I offered to run a workshop for them. I said, can we run a workshop, just an ideation one, maybe get a small group of people, and we just do, like, you know, the standard, like, Post-its around the room and you come together. And so they followed up after, and I think the chamber and I are gonna host something. So.
Oh, very cool. Well, great job at being the change you want to see in the world versus just sitting on the sidelines and complaining about it.
Yeah, no, I will be always that person to just, and again, like we move so fast as a society now that business needs to keep up. You can't be, what is it, paralysis by analysis anymore. You can't just, we are even my business plan is ever evolving. It's a live document,
Well,
and
consumers, we demand it. We demand that.
Yeah.
And we're taught by so many platforms about the way it could be. When are you competing with Amazon? Almost always, because they've created experience that's so curated with so much technology that makes it so easy for me. When I go to you, the startup, I expect the same experience. Like, I'm not going to go, oh, but you're small, I don't expect your online experience to be as good. No, I don't care. I actually demand it. And
100%.
that's a whole other realm. Melissa, what are you seeing kind of on the eastern side? I'll say more central. When people call Toronto Eastern Canada, I'm like, no, it's more central. It's not really east. You got to go for like another 18 hours to get if you're really to the edge. What are you seeing there in terms of the vibe, the busyness, the openness even to this approach?
Yeah, Toronto is, I mean, Ontario, but Toronto especially, that's what I know. It's a really unique place because there is so many people. Like, it's just packed. And if you drive down just one street in Toronto, there's a restaurant every other building. There's so many options. There's so many places to go. And people in Toronto are spending their money. They want to get out. They want to do stuff. And yet they want to try the next new thing. And so sometimes it can be a bit trendy. And so to make it as a restaurant in Toronto is really hard. It's not easy. Even though there's so many people, it's how do you keep those people? Yeah. How do you keep those people coming back and becoming regulars? Because Toronto, they'll try something new, but they're kind of more, I don't want to say snobby, but like Toronto people are,
this is a Calgary-based podcast, so you can say Toronto people if you want. It's okay. Like, no one here is going to get offended.
They have high standards. High standards.
Okay. Oh, that nice pivot, John. Nice pivot.
They have high standards, and they're going to be choosy about where they spend their money. And so I would say that as a restaurant, like what we're passionate about is helping restaurants do so much more than just make good food. We're trying to, communicate to restaurants about the spirit of hosting, which is so important. And the restaurants that understand like the spirit of hosting get it, and those ones are thriving. Like our restaurants in Calgary that I think of that just like add that extra little mocktail. They take the time to explain the dish. They take the time to be welcoming and warm. Like the people are like, I want to go back. That's the restaurant for me. And it's not even the restaurant that necessarily has the best food. It's the restaurant that created a welcoming space that felt like home in a way, that felt, like you're welcome to be in this space. And so in Toronto, it's the same thing. Yes, you want to have but there's like cool atmospheres are a dime a dozen in Toronto. Good food is a dime. Like there's just so much of that. And so if you want to set yourself apart as a restaurant, you really have to train your staff. You really have to get the right people in there, because that initial, the way that they feel they're being treated, like I'm spending my hard-earned cash. Like it's like things are hard right now. It doesn't matter where you're at. The money that you make is precious.
Life is aggressively expensive no matter where you are or what you do, right?
It is, and yet people still want to spend it, right? And and that's the thing is like same for me. So when I do go and spend my money, I want to be treated well, and I want to be treated like a human, not just some,
it's a feeling. It's like I love this. I love just the simple spirit of hosting. That's
exactly.
So well
it's
said.
A feeling, and so that's what we're passionate about, and making sure that our restaurants in Toronto get it, because that's how things are going to keep moving, and that's how people are going to keep coming back, right?
And does this mean you guys have to go to restaurants all the time to check things out? Like it sounds like a tough job, but someone's got to do it.
So hard.
I'm sensing that there's an R&D here that's very real.
Yeah, we sometimes actually, it is a problem.
Well, the first step is admitting it, Joanna.
Well, it's definitely a problem in the sense that sometimes it's too much food for us. And so we desperately are always looking for people to come and eat with us. And we've learned that.
Your next business is like gym tour, like workout tour?
Yeah. We're definitely going to need like the gym.
We got a hiking tour is scheduled right after the following morning when you feel all like, oh no, it was so good, but I had too much.
But everyone on my team will know I make us walk everywhere. So like when we are downtown, we take transit and we walk. That is our company. We do not very often take an Uber anywhere. So unless we would need to, so we walk it off.
Which putting on what you mentioned being in Italy, you eat and you drink and you do all the things, but you put on miles, like 10,000 steps, more like 20 to 30,000 steps.
That's the key.
So you burn it off, and the physicality of movement is huge. And I think I think we're celebrating movement more than we did like many years ago, where doing little as possible seemed to be celebrated. That we realized that was an error. That didn't work. It actually health decline. Everyone feels terrible.
Yeah.
So I didn't even know where I was going with that one.
No, but we're passionate about walkability. Like that's one of the main things we talk about, like the health benefits of walking in between your meals. Yep. Like not only is it just a fun experience walking between restaurants, not knowing you're going, but it's actually so healthy. It's so good for you.
And I find you have better conversations when you're physically doing something that's borderline mindless. Like I don't mean walk out in front of a car, but if my body's busy doing something, the conversations that tend to come out, there's a flow that changes. I think there's something to be said for that. Again, armchair experience.
Oh.
We joked about Bridget Bar. Bridget Bar feels like it's a bit on the edge of the edge, right? Sometimes, and it's getting less. But if you were over on First Street and you had to go to Bridget Bar, you're like, oh, okay, we gotta walk, like we gotta go. How is that for a challenge when you find a restaurant? And we're really giving a lot of shout outs to Bridget Bar. That is far away, or did you guys just really strategically build it so by the time you get there, it's only a few blocks around the corner?
Oh, by the way, like we love Bridget Bar. Bridget Bar is my mecca. Like if one day we'll get Bridget Bar, it will be the best place. But Bridget Bar is busy all the time.
It is packed.
They have my favorite drink, my favorite appetite. Like I go to Bridget Bar and
there's a spirit there you feel when you walk in. And I was just on a Wednesday, it's at 5:45 and it was packed.
Yeah, exactly. And so we just like, anyways, that's our favorite spot. I'll go and I'll just like order for the table. We've said that before. But no, I think that when you have to like go a little further and walk somewhere, it's it's good for the street vibrancy. Everybody talks about safety in the city and like, oh, we want safer downtowns. Guess what makes it safer downtowns in the cheapest way possible is for more people to come and walk around downtown. And then it makes you feel safer. And guess what? Every Friday night I go out. It's my Friday nights. I'm 4:30 on a Friday. You will see me somewhere downtown.
Okay.
But I take transit home every Friday and I walk to that transit downtown by myself, and I'm like a 5'0" nothing, little girl.
Joanna, but you're feisty. Don't downplay it. Don't downplay it.
But I have my head up. I walk around and there are people around. It's not, I think people have this vision that it's a way scarier place than it is, and it's not. Our downtown has people, especially like Stephen Ave, 17th Ave, 1st Street, all the places that you're walking on our tasting.
There's some other places in the world that I would consider unsafe. Downtown Calgary, and I don't want to be ignorant to the fact of a single woman by herself, which is Calgary's pretty safe, but we are starting to have some quote unquote big city challenges as we grow. But this is a much bigger, broader conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Right?
Systemic issue for sure.
Yeah, there's parts of Toronto you'd be like, okay, I probably shouldn't have turned down the street. But then again, downtown Toronto, I've never really had, again, being a male, different. I want to be careful with what I'm saying. I've never, I've been in some places around the world. I remember one night in Bangkok, I was like, oh shit, like you just feel the vibe in the street. I'm like, I should not be here right now. This is a bad, I don't know what's about to go down, but I don't want to be part of it. I've never really had that in Toronto or Calgary.
Yeah. And again, I think that it's being heard and that they are stepping up, and making sure we have like kind of more people out there. But again, Calgarians, one of the easiest things you can do, come downtown, go on a tasting, walk around, and then you're going to actually like have more people on the streets and it's going to feel safer.
Is it harder for you guys to get restaurants on board when they're slammed? Back to your point, even in Toronto, we kind of skipped over it, but you said our people. I'm also assuming that restaurant owners, founders, restaurant groups fit into that as well. Because if they're just churn and burn, that's not your people, right?
Yeah. So do you know what's really fun that we can do with our tech and what we've learned with our timing is that when we have a restaurant that's like incredibly busy all the time, we can actually reverse the order of the tastings, and we can slot them in, especially when we have concentration of a lot of different restaurants, so that we're only bringing people in kind of during that like 4:30 to 6, and then we'd switch and reverse them so that they would be the last
after work
spot.
Tasting crowd, right? Absolutely.
Exactly, and then they become the last spot on the tasting route, and so then they could actually have it where they would be only people coming in from 8 until 10, and so you kind of like miss that window when they would have prime time. And again, we're a reservation filler. Like, when does a restaurant know? Even with a reso, like they'll tell you now, like, oh, you have to be out of here by this amount of time. And you're like, great, but can you serve me in that amount of time? Yep. And so but for the restaurants, they're like, oh yeah, we know we can turn this table over in 45 minutes, no problem. And so it now just becomes where that table would sit empty. We now can provide them a little bit of extra
picturing
income.
The little graph on you search on Google Maps and it pulls up whatever. Like, it's usually busy at this time. Like, you're literally reverse engineering that, and like any business, you want to get out the bumpiness, right? Because everyone wants to reso at 7:15 or 7:30 or that kind of typical time. Yeah. But other times, I appreciate the strategy of partnering, and the restaurants that are really on top of their shit. Pardon, since we're swearing, on top of their shit, they're gonna love that because now they have you as a partner, right?
Exactly. And like I said, the restaurants that get it. And and we've had some restaurants that don't get it, and that's okay. And like, we've had to kind of like remove them from our tastings because we want our guests to have. Have you had
to fire? And we won't, no names, but I'm assuming yes.
No, we've had to remove.
You both kind of shuddered a bit with that question, so yes, you have.
No, Melissa, we hate doing it. It's awkward.
We definitely put in like effort to try to retrain them, give them more chances, and
hire
test
slow,
things
fire
out.
fast, I think is the saying that goes around, right?
Yeah. I'm always like a mystery taster. I'll never pronounce myself as who I am, and so I always like go and like test things out. And so we've had to let go of a couple people, but we always try and see if they kind of can turn things around, but sometimes it doesn't work out.
And if you had, I'm assuming you've had partners that is that the right word? Is that how you refer to your restaurants as partners? Yeah. Because if I'm them and you're feeding me customers and you're giving me data and you're giving me insights and feedback, that sounds like a partner, not just this group kind of funnels people in here. That's a different relationship, 100%. Which is the community that restaurant creates, right, unto itself, right?
And that's why and we're completely free for restaurants. Like, we're, when you have like the open tables,
you're not taking your
world,
cut off the restaurant side, right? Like everyone does.
And the thing is what we've realized is that compared to a regular tour, you're actually, and what you would even go to a restaurant and actually pay if you get your appetizer and stuff, we're so comparable to, we're like cheaper than a tour. The tasting only costs plus $85, and you're going to 4 different restaurants. You're getting a sample dish at each spot, and that includes your 20% gratuity. And so it ends up being
that's great. That's so accessible. That's you've kept that accessible. Okay,
yeah,
that's awesome.
Exactly. Now that's
thanks
not
for just throwing
price
the number out there. I might not even thought
honestly,
to ask. What does this actually cost? Thank you.
Yeah, and then in Toronto, it's not that price because in Toronto they have taxes. So many taxes out there.
Let's not even talk about that. The Alberta advantage. How did you two get connected? Again, Toronto. I'm assuming this is Waterloo. I shouldn't say it's not Toronto. I'm not going to be ignorant. I know Waterloo is not Toronto. I've been there. It's different, Tyler. How did you guys get connected? And was this always going to be business partners, or did it kind of just come about?
So we met in grade 1.
I love it. Nice. Okay, so this is a long story. This is an origin story.
From the beginning. No, we always have to say this because I moved around like a lot growing up. Like 21 times before I was 21, moved around a lot. In grade 1, I happened to live in Calgary for a year, and in that year, it's like we were soulmates. We instantly connected. That's
a really awesome. That's an awesome story, actually. That's so good.
We're 6 years old. We were best friends right from the go, and then my family moved, and to Salmon Arm, BC. And
you shared that with me when we chatted. I forgot.
Yeah, and me and Joanna we're pen pals. We would call each other on the phone, with the curly cord phone. I just remember playing with that while we talked for hours.
Trying to get far enough away to the other room from your parents so you could just have a chat. Yeah.
And thank God for our parents. Her mom would send her in the summer to stay with us for weeks at a time, which is crazy when you think about it.
Oh, I was 10 years old. 10 years old by myself. Took the Greyhound to Salmon Arm from Calgary.
No wonder you love transit, Joanna.
You had it ingrained in. That's so funny. That's 100%. So funny. Because transit got me to my best friend, so I love transit. Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah, that's great. That's great.
So we kind of, we always stayed in contact like a little bit here and there, but we did kind of drop off for a while. Yeah. And it was just check-ins here and there.
As life does.
Throughout the years. And we just started reconnecting more in the last few years. And when I went out to Calgary, was that? Oh my gosh, it was only last year. Last year for a wedding.
Sounds like a lot has happened in the last 12 months.
Yeah, so much. Yeah. When I went out for a wedding, because my cousin lives there, I stayed with Joanna, of course. I had to see her. And then she approached me and was like, this is what I'm doing. I want a business partner. And I've always been an entrepreneur. I've always loved this kind of work. I just wanted the right idea and the right business partner. I never wanted to go into business on my own because I had done that. Don't like it. And so when Joanna approached me, it was just perfect. It was like the puzzle pieces all kind of fell in place. And there's no one else I would rather be in business with because our values are so aligned. We know each other. We know how we work. Yeah. It's kind of like the perfect situation, I think.
Honestly, it's when you find somebody that has the same character as you, and that not to say that we're the same, we're actually very different, and our skill sets, which I think
is actually the true asset, different. Right? The same is not the right formula.
No, we are not the same. No. Melissa is an artist and does things beautifully and pretty, and is on a crazy different timeline sometimes than I am, and I am organized.
That was a really nice way for her to say that, wasn't it, Melissa? She's on just a different timeline than I am.
Yeah, right.
Joanna has a now timeline. Melissa's like, I'm going to get to it. I just got to feel the moment. Sorry, I'm interpreting from the outside.
That girl's a hustler. Both of us.
I saw your social media. You're out there making it happen. No, I saw it for sure.
She is. But in the sense of our skill set are complete opposites, but our character is the same. And I know that I can say things like that, and Melissa will never get offended because we
Well, which I love. You guys are just speaking with each other.
We just love each other. So.
Well, and you said values alignment. I think that's so critical. That differencing of opinions and perspectives, that's required. A values misalignment is a grenade waiting to go off, right?
Yeah, yeah. We both really this business will be profitable. We will we're going to turn it into $1 billion company. We know that. That's fine. But we want to make sure the most. I love the way you said that.
Yeah. That's just when. It's not if. Don't even ask me silly questions about that.
You have no idea the revenue streams and the plans that we have beyond food for this product and the opportunities that have been coming and knocking at our door. So we have no doubt that that's the case. But our most important thing is that we want to make sure that we do something disruptively different that helps our community. Our slogan is a meal is more than just food. We really want to bring people together over food. I have an amazing idea and it's coming together. The universe is bringing this together. I've been thinking about this for almost a year. I really want Nenshi and Danielle Smith to come together over a tasting, and I want them to have an interview where they don't talk about politics and actually just come together as humans, because we're in a world right now where we need civil politics. Politics can be politics, you guys in the ring, whatever, fight. But when I come to Thanksgiving dinner and somebody across from me is a Trump supporter and they're my family member, I need to just be able to talk to them as a human still, and not like
not come across the table at them.
Exactly, right? Like, and I know that the issues are deeply divided and things, and this is totally off topic, but I love it.
I love how you brought this right in.
But this is food. Like, I think that it's gonna happen. I've already kind of been talking to both sides and like getting the seed in there, and I think that they will do it, because why wouldn't you? We should be the leader. If Alberta was the leader in civil politics,
leading
in all
by
of Canada,
example isn't the best way. It's the only way, right?
It's the only way. And they're friends. I know that they're like, even though they're political enemies, they went to university together. They shoot the shit together. Like, you know, like if there is something beyond where you can just be like a human being to each other. And so I really hope it happens. If you're listening, or anybody else is out there listening, help me make this happen for them. So I have a whole
Nenshi holds the record as the longest monologue ever on the show. I think he went for like 18 minutes without even having a chance for me to get a word in.
I believe it.
And then he bragged about it after. He's like, I think that's the longest. I'm like, I think you're right, sir.
Yeah.
I think I had him for episode 100, because I'm like, this is a podcast based around Calgary. I'm like, I got to get the mayor on. And again, it's Calgary. I made a couple calls. Someone went to school with him. Someone knew him. And next thing I was talking to his handler, and he was gracious enough to come on the show. So we had a good chat, and I talked very little. He talked quite a bit. So good luck. Have either of you watched The Bear?
I have. It's so anxiety inducing.
It is. But the Christmas dinner episode, Joanna, you talk about being at the dinner table.
Yeah.
Anyone who's watched, it was so uncomfortable. People are like, I didn't like it because it made me uncomfortable. I'm like, do you realize how good they did at making you uncomfortable by a show about cooking with a lot of family drama? So you made me think of that when you said, you know, if my family member's a Trump supporter I just immediately felt like being at that table in that episode of The Bear.
Right.
Anyways, if you know, you know. If you don't, go watch it. It's a really great show. But yeah, it gets just more and more anxiety inducing as the seasons go on as well.
Yes, it doesn't get better in that sense.
But if you've worked in the restaurant world at all, they nailed a lot of what goes on in the restaurant world. They just turned up the exaggerated nature of a TV show.
Yeah, exactly.
Kitchens are an insane place. It's crazy goes on there.
Yeah, and we honestly, like, the more we've been getting to know chefs, and like we're just like we always are like, thank you so much for feeding us.
Yes, chef.
And like,
yes, chef. Thank you, chef. Yes, chef. Thank you, chef. Absolutely.
You work very, very hard. Like, it's an insane job, and you know, and they love what they do. They're so passionate about what they do, and you have to be, because like the hours and you know, it's wild.
Yes,
it's a wild world.
Yes, it is. That's not for the weak of constitution in any way.
No.
Talk to me a little bit about, just from a business perspective. It sounds like from the outside. Talk to me a little bit about funding, and you can talk in any way you want. Sounds like you're bootstrapping. Sounds like you're grinding it out. Have you thought about funding? What does that look like on the journey from a venture perspective?
Yeah, funding has been like, so bricolage is like always what I think about, like the resources that I have around us, but I literally had nothing to start. So I had a very generous aunt, which she, you know, she basically handed it to me and just said, tell me the terms later. If you, whatever you want, just, I believe in you. And that was phenomenal.
That's pretty sweet. High five to her.
High five to her, Auntie Joanne. Yeah. Like, you rock. She's the first one that believed in me, and she will come along this rocket ship journey with us. Regardless, so I took that $25,000 and have built what we've built, and every piece of profit, because we have a 40% profit margin, so all of our profit has gone back into kind of building the business up.
Nice. You built a business that can support its own growth. That's awesome.
Exactly. And we pay ourselves, because you know we have to. I think a lot of entrepreneurs are like,
good. I'm so glad. I think that's an error. I think that's an error to not build it from the get go. Right on. Good for you guys. That's
so we're just finishing up our first raise right now. Our goal was to get 75,000. Our max was 150, and we've raised 120 so far, which has been really exciting.
Congratulations, your first raise.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
first
our
official raise.
Yeah, and so the goal with
friends and family, some angels. What's that? What's kind of the makeup of that?
Yeah, surprisingly, like there have been people that have reached out to us. So like one is like one of my profs at U of C. There's been like a few just like family members that have seen what we're doing. Not even family, actually, no family other than our brothers, our two brothers. But like otherwise,
we had tasters.
Yeah, we put out a newsletter.
I was wondering if you had people that, I've
Yeah.
experienced this. This is great. I'm in. Like,
exactly.
back to creating an experience even for your investors.
100%. And so, yeah, we were surprised by that because we were like, okay, well, let's put a newsletter out and just see. And we had quite a few people reaching out for that too. And so that was,
I think there's an advantage to having a low barrier. You're not coming to the table going, oh, it's 250. That's, minimum to get in. And, a lot of venture opportunities even start at 50 or 100, which is a lot. It's too much for people. Yeah. But yet everywhere you look, you hear about venture and a lot of people are curious about it. So I do think in the right context with the right founders, because you can lose, you can win, but it gives people an opportunity to put their toe in the water on venture, which I just think opens up the asset class for people down the road with a full realization of upside and potential risk. And, losing 10 grand is not losing 150 grand if you're just getting into something for the first time as an early stage investor.
Well, and the thing is that, and I know there's so much like tech, like investment, and we just like OSIF, I think, just spent like a whole bunch of money. Like there's like lots of things where they've been investing. And what I've realized is that, I don't know, tech investing is a whole lot of bullshitting. Like, it's like, it really is. And
Joanna,
it's so
I love
funny.
your candor, by the way.
Well, no, but like we have a product that made money, and like, but because we make money, we almost are like not seen as legitimate tech. And it's like, it's such a strange world. We've almost like, we would have been better off like raising for the
just
idea.
Pitching on a deck versus actual
and
beta and a
and
revenue
you know what?
stream.
If let's say that we had been given $150,000 for this concept at the beginning, we would have blown it on things that we didn't need. And Hunter, I know that we would have put it on development that we didn't need, things that our customers didn't exactly need. And so because we had basically nothing, like in the tech world, 25,000 to build something, we did a web app instead of a downloadable app. And guess what? I don't think people want to download apps anymore. I think they're over it. And a web app has been way better and much easier platform for people to use. So it's interesting because I know in the community people get a lot of money thrown around because if you're the buzz market topic, you're AI, people are going to throw money at you right now, and that's dying down. And I think it's a lot of BS out there. So we're making money, we're making revenue, and then we found people that believe in that, and we know. We're very underestimated, I think, and we're okay in that space.
which can really I clearly is going to work to your advantage, just getting to know the two of you a little bit. I had a couple gentlemen on yesterday, both working in kind of that VC space, one focusing more on the development side, one on investment. And my buddy Jade literally said the same thing. He goes like, I'm tired of the bullshit. I'm tired of people raising money that shouldn't be. I'm tired of people wasting money. He goes, I'm slowing down all my personal investing in small because it's ridiculous right now. And it doesn't make sense. Like half the people that are looking to raise money shouldn't even be raising money. They don't even have a viable thing. And he was quite vocal. And a couple of years ago, he was more like, yeah, we're all in. We need to raise all boats. And he's like, it's gotten too messy. And he very similar sentiment that you just expressed.
And I don't know. And again, like I don't want to say anything that's like, I know that there's trying and there's trial and error and everybody's working on stuff. But the inside scoop is what I'm getting, and what the advice I'm getting from my advisors is when we're getting placed into accelerators and like people asking us to be a part of their accelerator, they're saying, don't do it, because none of the accelerators are actually producing money making businesses, and the ones that don't go through accelerators are. So there's something that's not connecting. I'm not saying the accelerators are a bad program, like definitely helpful in getting innovation going, but there's something that's not connecting right now, and there should be some ideation behind like what we need to do in order to fix that, because we need to see more results, and for some reason that formula is not producing it.
I love that you brought it up because it's starting to percolate in these, because I have conversations with so many different people from different angles, and there's a thread that came through, and I just had a conversation yesterday that was almost verbatim what you were saying, and now you're voicing it from a founder's perspective, where you're not just running around with a deck looking for money, and which immediately means it's an overvaluation often, in my opinion. And there was a lot of success stories. What was it, Calgary? We're number 3 in terms of investment capital and venture. But the 90% of that was on 2 big deals. Like it's kind of getting skewed a little bit, and then we're grabbing the wrong metrics to make it look awesome. And it's all great. I'm all for the boon of it, but when things get misrepresented, they don't get better until they get worse. And that's dangerous for sure for the ecosystem, in my opinion.
Well, and I'm going to like segue here because you just talked about like metric differences. So what's so interesting for us in the product that we have right now is the digital marketing world. And so the packages that we're purchasing. So we've purchased some packages in Calgary through digital marketing campaigns. And what they're telling us is the click rates and the view rates and all of that compared to what we're actually, and we're able to very easily see it. We're such a small business that we're able to very clearly see.
It's not getting lost in the muck, right?
Exactly. And so they're telling us all these numbers, but I'm like, no, that's actually not the case and not relaying over. And digital marketing is shifting and nobody can really figure it out. And we spent $8,000 on a package. And we saw a spike in sales, and we definitely got our name out there and stuff. But that $30 hobby horse that we purchased and went to Stampede Grounds asking if hobby horsing was a real sport, we threw it up on TikTok.
I watched a bunch of those videos.
Right? They were funny. And we got over 200,000 views, and our sales spiked even higher than that package. And so I'm not saying everything needs to be TikTok, but Melissa's definitely got a strategy, and that's working. And we've seen that firsthand from being able to look at it at a very small data point of what's going to work. And restaurants, it's hard for a restaurant to know if a digital marketing campaign worked or not, but we're able to see, yes, this digital marketing campaign worked because we can see when people are actually making the bookings right afterwards, whereas a restaurant
you're able to have attribution just because you've got enough perspective that you can see, you can literally look at it and see it, right?
Exactly.
It spiked right after we did this. So whether it came directly or it could be attributed, we know that that's what the activity that drove it, right? Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And you can have somebody that sees this beautiful thing for Teatro and looks it up, and then suddenly, the Teatro doesn't know, did this flood of people come because there was the Philharmonic tonight, or because there was a conference, or did this actually come from the media campaign because people were looking at our website? So they don't always have an idea of knowing, and we have a very clear view of what's working and what's not.
I think you're absolutely right, though. The world of digital media and we became so reliant on it's easy, it's cheap, it works. And we forgot about experience. We forgot about all the things that, in my opinion, actually are what make up brand. It's not your logo or your name. It's your spirit of hosting. It's the experience that you provide. That's your brand. And that doesn't always get translated through a Google ad. Well,
I would also say
it often doesn't, actually.
When it comes to marketing, digital marketing, but then marketing as a whole, the other reason why the hobby horse bit, and we had a bunch of bits, it wasn't just hobby horsing for Stampede, was that yes,
all hobby horse, there were also hot cops.
There were hot cops. No, but
it takes all. You have to appeal to a broad audience. Absolutely.
Is that it translated eventually into digital marketing? Once I edited those videos and put them out, but it was also guerrilla marketing at the same time. So the two were coming together, because we were literally face to face with thousands of people, handing out stickers, talking about Taste the City. People were like, oh my gosh, I want to check this out. Literally we just hand out these silly stickers and they'd be like, oh my gosh, this is so cute. What is this about?
What did the sticker say, Melissa? What was our cowboy? What was our Stampede sticker?
It said Taste the Cowboy. And
it's anything goes during that 10-day period of time, right?
Honestly, I tried to explain to Melissa. It was her first Stampede this year, and I was like, it is a different place. And Melissa's never been to Cowboys. When I first moved here,
and I was like, what the F is going on here? I was like, I was not prepared for what. I've
but you gotta shock people, right?
100%.
When you're a business, there's so much noise out there.
Literally slap us in the face to get us to pay attention, right?
Yeah.
I think we were actually getting noticed on the grounds, and people were remembering who we were. We ended up meeting celebrities that week, unknowingly. Would meet them, talk to them, and then walk away, and people asked to take their picture, and we're like, who is that?
That's hilarious. You guys are just there doing your thing,
putting it out there. Being
but
wild.
The value of I like what you said. Oh yeah, sure, it translated and can be pointed to and say digital marketing, but we still had to get out there and create that content. And we also had to interact with the world.
Yeah, and do you know what Chapel Roan
I'm going to push a bunch of buttons and the magic's going to happen. You got to get out there.
You
got to do the thing, right?
And I'm going to quote Chapel Roan, and we friggin' love Chapel Roan, and we're living off of her right now. And one of her quotes is, as soon as I stopped taking myself so seriously, started having fun and adding some glitter, everything worked out. And we're like, it's so true. We have a lot of fun with what we're doing, and that picks up. People get that. And if we're having this much fun planning it, you're going to have this much fun going on a tasting.
You guys both have a lot of quotable quotes today. That was a good one, even right there. Come on. If we're having this much fun, how could you not?
Yeah, exactly.
Shout out to any restaurants, anybody. I love sharing. We've talked about Jabara, and I think that sounds like that was aspirational. But some of the restaurants that have been with you from the beginning, anybody you want to shout out to? And I'm all about the shout out, so don't hold back. Don't hold back.
Okay, so this is so tricky because we love all of our restaurants, but we don't want to tell anybody about our restaurants, because that's the whole point of the tasting, is that you actually don't know where you're going. It's the surprise. And so we're really interesting. We like to find sneaky ways but of how we can promote them, but we do promote them in our model. Like our whole point is experiential marketing. And so we're doing this digital marketing piece for them just to like in general bring people onto their tastings that are going to come to their restaurant. So while we're not necessarily like putting the name of it because it's a secret, we are bringing the people for this experiential marketing. And the number one feedback that we get on our tastings is, this is a restaurant I've never been before, and I'm going to be back to make a full reservation. And people are coming back, they're checking it out, they're re-exploring and rediscovering their cities.
I love it. So if you want to know, if you want to know, there's one easy way.
Sign up and
do a tasting.
That's how
do
you
a tasting. Do a tasting.
And Bridget Bar, unfortunately, is not a tasting spot, but if you're listening, I'd love you to be, because we absolutely love your food. Your olives actually changed my life, and I now eat olives, and I never used to, and Bridget Bar was my kind of like gateway for that.
The gateway drug. That's funny. That was so fun having you both on. I love your energy. I love your passion for it, but I also love the deliberate, the intention, the why behind it. And the like, we're going to be like, we're going to be $1 billion company. Like, just check that over there. Let's talk about what we're doing right now.
Yeah, it's true.
There's something very inspiring about that. And I am absolutely going to round up some friends and do a tasting with you guys, because it seems like a no-brainer. Why wouldn't I? It sounds amazing. And if you have a vibrant restaurant culture in your city, that's a real telltale sign of kind of what's going on and where people are feeling about the world they live in. And so I think it's incredibly important we support it as well. Mm-hmm.
Amazing. Thank you. Well, we're doing our birthday party. We're going to host a birthday party tasting. We picked kind of what our favorite restaurants are. You have to, it's not completely walkable because you're going to hop between Inglewood and come back over to 17th Ave, and then
Inglewood has its own little scene for sure. That's worth it. There's already a couple places I can think of that may or not be on there, right?
Exactly. And so we're creating a founders tasting specially for that day for our birthday. It's a Sunday, October 20th. So if anybody wants to join us, we'll be on that tasting.
That sounds like a blast. And obviously, tastethecity.ca. Just go hit book a tasting in the top right corner, and the rest will take care of itself.
Yeah, exactly.
Joanna, Melissa, it was nice to get to know both of you. I love your story. I love what you're doing. And Godspeed to more success. And I will do what I can to get the word out.
Thanks, Tyler. Appreciate it. Thanks for having us on.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks for having us.